being immortal. So when you is hard for a quarter, man, we gonna ride. I'm not playing. We ain't leaving out a dub. I promise you. I'm getting everything out.
That beat shit is far a little ball. Hey, I like thanks to my nigga them. We gon' play with them pistols here. We smoking dank in my liver, yeah. We get shit wet on the river, yeah. We get shit wet like the river, yeah. I wet shit like Austin Rivers, yeah. Hey, check me out. On my side is getting wicked, nigga sliding. Mama told that boy to shake the city, so he ride. On that Mac, it be a titty, show no pity when we diving. Roll your brother in the game before he hitting, why you hiding? OG now be dropping bags, no I don't, bitch, why you lying? M.S. Closet popping tags, spent 5 racks on my designer. Put 15 up on your ass, but that's your ass.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Sideline Surge. We are out here with the college football edition. We are now in the semifinals. We have a lot to talk about because last weekend, holy shit. I mean, I'm still in disbelief that we as U Miami won that game. But besides just the UM game, like I was surprised. We're gonna take it bit by bit. Let's start off first. Oregon. Oregon completely dismantled the Texas Tech team with a 23-0 blowout. I mean, that's just the beginning of all the craziness that was happening over the weekend, but I mean, I think they took a lot of people by surprise. What did you see out of Oregon this past weekend?
I mean, to be honest, I saw more of like it was kind of like a flow state, to be honest. You know, like you had some guys come back in from being out for multiple weeks during the regular season, and you could just see how like the bond there, like it carried them all the way through the game. You know, like play calling was on point, defense was actually doing amazing, and then offense they were actually able to go out there against a very solid defense and put up some points. You know, so it was like when you look at that as a whole, you could tell Oregon is definitely, somebody to be afraid of in the playoffs. But then it's like, you know, is always, on to the next game. You know, it's like, yeah, the other teams are going to look at that game and be like, the film is right, the film is there, da da da. But that doesn't mean they're going to do the same exact thing next game. So it's like, for other teams, they're probably going to, kind of stay away from that. Not let it be like, oh, they put up 23. Not
Yeah.
let Texas Tech score up any points. Yeah, that's a good thing, but it's on to the next. It's on to the very next game. But I mean, Oregon looking strong. Like I been said, like I feel like these are definitely the 4 teams that deserve to be here, and honestly, probably the strongest competitors. Out of every other team in college playoffs. So we'll just have to see how this plays out against Indiana.
Yeah, and then the other team, Indiana, the only team who had a first round bye to make it past the quarterfinals. Indiana completely, again, dismantled Alabama. They didn't shut them out. Alabama was able to get a field goal. But I mean, I was watching that game. I was bored out of my mind. Indiana just went out there and had fun. It was insane. Um, Especially, I mean, Alabama, there's been a lot of controversy over whether they should have been let in to the playoffs to begin with. But
Yeah.
what did you see out of this Indiana team that you think will carry them to the final?
I mean, I've seen the same thing that I saw all season. Like, when me and you talked about this, like way back of how that top three, like, is probably undefeated, bro. Like that top three, it was like it's just two like strong competitive teams that they won't really have a problem, and even though like Ohio State was number one all season long, I had a feeling that it wasn't going to play out that way because of how their schedule was looking. Like they weren't prepared for the heavy hitters because they haven't played any true heavy hitters all season. So it's like when you have a easy ride all season, now you get into the very strong teams. It's gonna be difficult. But with Indiana, they've had some really strong teams along the way, so they're prepared for it already. And then even with them beating Ohio State before it got to playoffs, that shows that they really had like everything in order, like everything was organized and they were doing all their assignments. So with
Yeah.
this last game against Bama, it was completely different. Bama lost against FSU. Bama lost against it was another team that they lost to. I think they had 3 L's if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they
But it's
had
like
three. Well, four
But it's
if
like
you
what?
include the Georgia loss at the end of the
Well,
season.
yeah, four. But even then, it's like with Bama, they're completely unorganized. Like you have players that's not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Play calls aren't like always working in their favor because it may be a good play, but defense is just not letting them, get anywhere. So it's like for Bama, it's a bunch of stuff that like they have to work on. But Indiana, they did everything they needed to. So it was just better for Indiana to win anyways. But if both teams were actually doing solid, then that we could have had a good game. You never know, but Indiana, they're just too strong of a team to like really have any struggles against anybody.
So now in the semifinals, we're gonna have a rematch between Indiana and Oregon. Indiana has already beaten Oregon once during the season, back in October. These are both, very strong teams, very good resumes. Indiana has, Fernando Mendoza, who is the Heisman. Oregon has been fighting through the whole season, and now they're gonna fight it out in the Peach Bowl. Who do you think will win?
Mm, I don't know. I feel like this is kind of a similar situation, with us with the UM. It's like we always want UM to come out on top,
Yeah.
but it's same thing with Oregon. Like I feel like Oregon they really deserve to be there, but then Indiana they've proven themselves so much this season and even last season, so like they really deserve it as well. But I don't know. I think Indiana is going to be very strong, uh, defensively, and they'll for sure be able to put up some points on the board. But I feel like if Oregon is like doing very good on the defensive side, they'll be able to hang in there with Indiana. So I feel like it's kind of depends on those two, but I think overall Indiana might come out on top, probably by like maybe a touchdown. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game, but I think Indiana's probably going to come out on top by a touchdown.
All right, next up we got Ole Miss and Georgia. Ole Miss, who, was not favored to win against Georgia, came out on top somehow with their D2 transfer quarterback Trinidad Chambliss. I mean, that I think was the only real game that we had like this past weekend. The Ole Miss's offense was firing on every cylinder. We got Trinidad Chambliss with 362 yards and two touchdowns. We had Kevon Lacey almost hitting 100 yards rushing and two touchdowns. I mean, that whole team was operating just like they were supposed to, and they got it done. So now, you know, we're gonna have them go up against UM. UM surprised everyone when they beat Ohio State. UM is not like on a certain degree, they're not even supposed to be in these playoffs. And they made it, and they have now not only beat Texas A&M and limited Texas A&M to not score once, they have also now beaten Ohio State, and in fact, I think it took them until the second or third quarter for Ohio State to finally put points on the board, and they were only able to put up 14 points. We're gonna get back to Ole Miss in a second when we talk about the Ole Miss UM game, but what do you think is pushing UM through this whole process?
I think they're just tired, bro. Like UM, they've come to this situation so many times, like in the past maybe I want to say 2 to 3 seasons, to where it's always like that, that one decision, that one game that determines them making the playoffs. So I feel like now it's like with that one game that got them there, now they're really trying to, prove themselves and show that like they deserve to make playoffs last year. They deserve to really be there and actually try to, go far all the way to the chip. So I think it's just like they have a different gear than like other colleges, honestly. Like you don't see that from a lot of other schools. Of course you see like, oh, we made it, but now they don't tap into that extra gear that shows that they deserve to be there and like they're going to stay there. They do that every single time they get to a situation like this where they show us that they deserve to be there. So that whole game, it was, I wouldn't say it's like surprising because because like I said before, Ohio State, they haven't had any heavy hitters all season long. So now when
Yeah.
you go against a true like powerful team, it's going to be different. So definitely nobody expected it to be, play out that way with Ohio State not putting up any points at all for a minute, and then they finally come out score 14. But it's good to see because like this whole season they've proven themselves honestly. Like yeah, they had a few games where it was you would doubt them a little bit, and there's some games that definitely should have won. But I mean, they deserve to be here. We just have to see if they can hold that all the way up against Ole Miss. Ole Miss, in my opinion, is a stronger team because they do everything so well. It's not just the passing game, not just defense, not just running game. Like the whole team operates as a unit. So it's definitely gonna be a good game to see. But if they don't do what they did last game, then it might work in Ole Miss's favor.
This game is going to be really interesting. UM's defense, after the horrible season that they had last year, this season UM's defense has impressed a lot of people. And we saw it against Ohio State. The defense played amazing. They got a pick six even. And now they are going to go up against Ole Miss, which has one of the best offenses in college football right now. They're a high scoring offense with weapons, both passing. Trinidad Chambliss is amazing. He's proven himself way beyond the D2 status that he had. And Kwan Lacey is also a very good running back. So, to me, this game is going to be a lot about what can the defense do against the pass, because we already know Carson Beck, his passing in big games isn't always up to standard. However, makes up for that with just running the ball. Mark Fletcher Jr., just you give him the ball, he'll get 20 carries a game and he'll just
Yeah.
run it every single play. And now we're going to go up against Ole Miss, who not only has a very strong offense, but they have a decent defense. I mean, they were able to hold Georgia. And their offense was able to, even when the defense gave up 34 points to Georgia, Ole Miss was still able to stay in the game and get 39 points over Georgia. So what do you think will be the deciding factor in this upcoming game?
I honestly think it's going to come down to Miami stopping the running offense for Ole Miss. I think that's what it's going to come down to because as long as defense does their part, they'll for sure be able to put us some points on the other side of the ball. But Ole Miss's running game is too strong. Like almost every single time Kwan Lacey touches the ball, like he's guaranteed yards or a touchdown. So it's like as long as you're able to contain him and you're able to stop him from getting hot, getting in rhythm, and like going downfield, that will kind of get them to go more to the passing. And as long as all your corners, your safeties, and even your linebackers are paying attention to the QB, make sure his eyes aren't looking anywhere obvious, and your receivers are locked down. I mean, like there's only so much that Ole Miss would be able to do, if
Yeah.
they do that part. So um I don't know. I think it's pretty even so far because you have Mark Fletcher Jr. running back, Kwan Lacey running back, both solid receivers on both sides, and then you have a lot of corners and safeties on both sides of the ball as well for defense. And then we go to the offense, two great quarterbacks. Like it's pretty even so far. Like it's probably the most even matchup that we've had all through our playoffs so far. So I don't know. It could definitely go both ways, but end of the day, it's up to a coin toss. Like whoever gets the ball first, and if they come out strong, we'll have to see.
Right. We're gonna head to headlines real quick. We already have some draft announcements. So first up, Ty Simpson, Alabama's QB, has already announced that he is gonna enter the NFL draft. He is projected to be among the first quarterbacks selected in this year's NFL draft. He's passing up his senior year and just going straight to the draft. Um, which I mean, honestly, with the way Alabama is looking, I think it's a smart move. uh, so now that he's going, what team would you see him in? Like, what team would you put him in the NFL?
I mean, to be honest, the teams that really need a QB, I would probably say the Raiders. They even though with them securing first pick and all, just having a young quarterback be able to still have a vet on his team, that could help, you know. And even if Gino, even if he hasn't been doing good all season, he still has, you know, experience. He still has all those years in him from being in the league. So even if he may not be able to tell him like, okay, you know, like try to do this, try not to do that, da da da, he can still help him like, oh, reading plays. You need to make sure you're doing this when you're on the field. Your cadence, make sure this is going right. Leadership, you know, it's stuff like that. So Raiders definitely need a QB. As far as many other teams, I mean, we can't really even really say like too many other teams need a QB. We have a lot of rookie quarterbacks that are on teams right now. They're looking pretty strong. Yeah, I mean, probably Raiders is the only strong suggestion. Yeah, I can't really think of any other team as far as like as far as the bottom teams, you know, like teams that this season they're obviously going to be in top 5, top 10 picks, but the Raiders
Yeah.
probably the only team out of all of those that really need a quarterback right now. So, yeah, that's my team that I'll put him in.
Would you think that he might have some damage to his draft position, considering all his injuries that he's had, especially the rib injury that he suffered in the last game of the season against Indiana?
Uh, I mean, yeah, most likely because you know they for as a rookie, they always want you to be healthy right off the bat.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's just good signs because if you're hurt in college, you know, going against guys around your age, imagine the NFL when you're going against, you know, all kinds of experience, all, you know, way bigger players, faster game, you know,
Yeah.
it's different. So it's not gonna look good because like now it's a risk of you going out there and you either making that injury worse or, you know, re-aggravating it, whatever. Um, but I mean, it can't hurt too much as long as he goes out there and shows like during preseason he's solid, regular season, even if he doesn't start his first year, even if he comes in, you know, as a backup and he still
Yeah.
does good, that's just good signs overall. It's just making sure that the injuries, his recovery, what he's doing for his diet and all that, his you know, strength and conditioning, all that, you know, aligns, then he'll be pretty good to go. I feel like that's kind of the main problem that you know, franchises have right now as far as their rookies. They don't take care of them too much on the, you know, in their first year. So it's like they're way smaller, they're slower, you know, things like that. But
Yeah.
always in that second year comes around, they're a lot bigger, a lot faster. So if they can get that going in their, you know, first year instead of waiting until the second year, then he'll be pretty good to go as far as injuries.
All right. Our second player that has declared for the draft already is Cornell Tate, the Ohio State University um wide receiver. He is coming into the draft. Who would you put him on? Or what team would you put him on?
Um, I mean, we can go down the line of great receivers on almost every team actually. So
Yeah.
I feel like it'll be a little difficult for him as a receiver because you can go from the Seahawks to the Bucks to the Lions. We can even say Ravens, Texans, you know, Patriots. It's like it's a good amount of teams that really have solid, you know, receivers. Like any of those players can go to a different team and still, you know, be number one, number two option. So for him as a rookie, I definitely would say he has to go to a team that he can build with as far as experience as well. So right now, I think you know, teams like even the Bucks, teams like the Seahawks, having some two receivers on those teams that have had good rookie seasons, and you know, for them to go in their sophomore season and for Carnell Tate to come in as a rookie, that would be great because now the experience is not, you know, a huge difference. You don't have a vet that's been in the league for maybe 6+ years compared to somebody that just got in, you know. So you put him around like Buka, he could be able to help him, you know, just navigate the field. Then you
Yeah.
put him against Smith and Jigba, you know, JSN, he could do that as well. So I feel like whatever team he goes to has to have you know, one or two receivers that did very well their rookie season, you know, this past season. So it's a few teams like that. Definitely I would definitely say one of those two maybe the Bucks because they definitely need more help over there. It sucks with injuries, bro. Like that really messed them up. So
Yeah.
I definitely say the Bucks for sure because injuries it messed up their whole season.
Would you expect there to be a lot of pressure for him to perform once he gets to the league just because of the caliber of wide receivers that come out of Ohio State?
I feel like that automatically comes no matter where you come from in college. Like you could say this, of course you could say the same thing about OSU, Bama, and LSU as far as those like the top three, receiver schools.
Yeah.
But I feel like even if he was to come from UM or if he was to come from, Ole Miss, Texas, just any other school, it wouldn't really matter because you still have like that resume. You
Yeah.
still have all those stats all throughout college. But it's definitely gonna be some pressure there because like Ohio State, like, oh, that's literally wide receiver you. Like everybody's expecting you to come out and literally be able to do whatever as soon as you get in the league. So it's gonna be some pressure there. But I feel like for any Ohio State receiver, that pressure is already, like it's nothing new to them because
Yeah.
you're already at that school, so you're expected to perform well. But I don't think it's gonna be too much pressure on him.
All right. And then to end this off with a defensive player, also from Ohio State, it literally just happened like a few minutes ago.
Mhm.
Their star safety Caleb Downs will also be declaring for the NFL draft. So yeah, kind of just a similar question. Who really needs defense right now?
Um, I feel like that's a little difficult because defense this season has been kind of weird. Like you would see some teams that won't even have a good record but have amazing defense. So I feel like this season it's a little weird with how it went because like Browns their defense was good but their record says otherwise.
Yeah.
And then even like at some point in the season Titans their defense was pretty good. Giants defense was pretty good.
Maybe
Like
the Jets, because the
yeah,
Jets had like
Jets
zero
too.
interceptions.
Yeah, exactly. So it's weird because you have all these teams that like their season went horrible, but their defense was still pretty good.
Oh no,
So
the Jets
it, wa-
defense was bad. Like maybe they
yo,
need a safety.
I was probably say Jets is probably one of the only teams though. Like out of
Yeah.
every other team, like their defense was pretty decent, but Jets is probably the only team out of
Yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
NFL teams that like they didn't really do much. But I don't know. I think Jets is gonna be uh like difficult for him because that's only one player.
Hmm.
Like that one player is not gonna make a huge difference if everybody else is still not doing, their assignment. So probably Jets and just for him to fit in a very good system, I'll probably say the Rams. That if they get another solid safety there and be able to work around them, they'll do pretty good. But right now, yeah, probably Jets for sure. They need some help over there.
All right. Well, that'll wrap up for our college edition of the Sideline Surge. We're gonna get really quickly to the NFL section in a minute, so stay tuned.
Yeah, 60 on it. Yep, low spur. We going all the way up. Yeah. I'm gonna turn this bitch all the way up. Hey, Brandon, yeah. I'm on the block with that heavy, on the block with that heavy. Watch out for cops that pull up in them Chevys. They about to crack my main trap, her name Betty. They niggas don't want no smoke on my body. Gucci and Louis can't do no Zanati. Bad bitch on me look like she hang with Kylie. I used to fuck with a bitch, hang with Kylie. On the real, I think that bitch live in Cali. My boy shot the powder, the flower, that Kylie. Yeah. I could've been a stylist. I remember when the boys used to dollars. I got a girl that trap like she from Dallas. I got so much money, need an accountant. She said
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the NFL section. We made it. We did it. The Seahawks are the first round, are the first seed. Let's go. I cannot believe that we have made it. I am so happy as a Seahawks fan right now. It has been a hell of a season. Um, Sam Darnold has just become, I think, the second ever quarterback to have two straight 14-win seasons, and the first quarterback, I believe, to do it on different teams in consecutive seasons. So that is crazy to me. Um, it's crazy to me how much the season has flipped on its head The teams that everyone thought would be good at the start of the season were not good, and now we have a playoff with no Mahomes, no Lamar Jackson, no who else are we missing? We're missing someone else. Oh, no Joe Burrow.
Oh yeah, Joe Burrow.
Like, oh my God. Like, this is a crazy season. The Lions, who were just a top team last season, are completely out. The Vikings, who were a 14-win team, are out. The Commanders, who, just made it to the playoffs with a rookie quarterback last season, are also out. We're gonna talk about a lot of things, especially Black Monday, since we had a lot of um firings. A lot of coaches are out, a lot of people are out, but first we need to talk about playoffs. We have our first seeds, Denver and Seattle, both extremely good defenses and offenses. If you had to make a Super Bowl right now, and it's Denver and Seattle in the Super Bowl, who would you pick to win the Super Bowl right now?
I think we both can agree offense for the Hawks is like almost unstoppable, but Broncos defense is what really like keeps them in the game most of the time. So
Yeah, they have to give Bo Nix like
um
3 quarters to warm up.
yeah, I don't know. That's difficult. I'll probably I have to say Hawks, man. Hawks, they're looking too strong right now, bro. I they're looking way too strong compared to like any other team in the league right now. And when you go against the Broncos, which we kind of did have that discussion earlier in the season, like about schedule, if the schedule's too easy, things like
Yeah,
that. But I don't know. Like they still had some heavy hitters on the team. On the schedule, they still had some tough opponents to go through. But Hawks, man, they looked like strong this whole time. I'll definitely say the only thing is that there was a point in time, maybe 3 to 4 weeks ago, when Darnold, he wasn't like crazy consistent. He had like like a questionable game or two,
yeah.
but even then, that doesn't compare to what he's been doing the entire season. Like you're going to have those 1 or 2 games. So I got Hawks. If it really comes down to to those two, I definitely have Hawks winning that.
Yeah, so the wild card round will start this weekend. We're gonna have games on both Saturday and Sunday. Oh, and the Monday game. In the NFC, we got Packers at Chicago Bears. A great game as always, I hope. The Niners versus the Eagles. The Rams at the Carolina Panthers. And then on the AFC side, we got the Chargers at the Patriots, the Bills at the Jaguars, and the Texans at the Steelers. The Texans at Steelers game will be the Monday night game. Out of all of these teams, who do you think is the team to watch? If you had to pick just one.
Just one, I would definitely say the Jags. The Jags surprised everybody, bro. Like from their last season, they didn't do too well. They were in a rebuild. They were adding on a lot more pieces, but just this season alone, bro, I think they changed a lot of people's minds about Trevor Lawrence, just offensive, Trevor Etienne, like they're just for them to like have that drastic change so quickly is surprising, because you could look at any other team, you could say like, oh, the Bears, they were very surprising when even though they had pieces there, it's just the coaching wasn't that great, and it was kind of not working for Caleb Williams. And then you could say the Panthers, of how Bryce Young, with him being able to kind of carry the team in a way. And then you could say the same thing about Texans.
Yeah,
But with all those teams, they've already had their seasons in the past where they had the elements there, but it just never came out to the same product. It was
yeah,
always different results and different things that was happening. But with the Jags, it's like they were strategic about it. They got their quarterback years ago. Now they're adding on all their offensive pieces, and then on the defensive side of the ball, they're all performing well.
mhm,
So for it to be such a huge change in just one season, I think Jags are definitely a team to watch, because nobody expected them to come out and even be number three. Like some people may have thought of them in the playoffs, but to be number three, like that's huge for them.
yeah. And then who do you think will be like the team that will surprise everyone and the team that will disappoint everyone?
The team that will disappoint everyone, I
Mm.
think, with I might have to say the Eagles because if when you look at all of NFC, they're all strong around, bro. Like
Yeah.
Rams, at some point, they never made you doubt, like, oh, they weren't gonna make playoffs. 49ers, they never made you doubt, oh, they weren't gonna make playoffs. But it's like when certain games with the Eagles, there was major doubt there. Like, there's no way in the world you came from a championship team, now you're only beating teams by like 3 points here and there. Like, nobody expected that. So it's like for them, I feel like if they're not prepared enough, they might be a like huge disappointment with them. But the team
Yeah.
that's going to surprise everyone, I think, uh, we might have the Texans, bro. Their defense is looking way too strong right now, bro. I've never seen a defense just come out of nowhere and literally like everybody's struggling against them.
They
That's
have names
surprising.
on every single position. That's the craziest
Every
part
single
too.
position, bro. Like that's wild. I don't think we've had that in a very long time. So just with them, they're definitely a team that's going to surprise a lot of people. But yeah, Eagles are is yeah, it's a coin toss. There's a few teams that might disappoint people, but I think Eagles are like that number one team right now. That's probably going to disappoint a lot of people. So we'll just have to see. Against when they play the Niners.
I think the team I would watch right now would be the 49ers just because of Brock Purdy's performance. There's 2 points to this. Brock Purdy before the Seahawks game, like let's give credit to the Seahawks defense. They somehow stopped Brock Purdy. But the 2 games before that, he had 5 touchdowns in each game. He had 10
Yeah.
touchdowns total. And he 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 got injured and the 49ers were still able to pull through with Mac Jones, which means that injury trouble is not a problem for the 49ers. And now that they have a lot of their weapons healthy, like this team can only go up. This team really can only go up. We're gonna have a chip on their shoulder because they literally fell from being able to have the first seed all the way to the sixth seed. They have everything to play for right now, and I can't wait to watch them. I feel like it's gonna be exciting. I really hope the Seahawks don't have to go up against them again, but we'll see. The team I think will surprise everyone is the Patriots, and the reason I say surprise, um, even though they're the second seed, is because everyone has doubted them just because of how easy their schedule was, and they have the chance not to surprise everyone. I don't think there's any holes in this team at all. I think their coaching is great, their offense and their defense is great. Um, and I don't doubt them, I think, as strongly as a lot of other people do. And then my disappointment team, I think, has to be. I was gonna say the Eagles, but I think honestly it'll be the Rams, especially if Stafford is given the MVP award. Just because I feel like whenever a quarterback is given an MVP award, they usually like whenever a player is given an MVP award, they somehow struggle then in the playoffs. Um, and even though I think this Rams team is really solid, they had some very cowboy-esque like defeats during the regular season that I just can't see them getting past like now in the playoffs. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But then now that we've talked about that, we can talk about Black fucking Monday. We have a lot of shit to cover here. Um like oh dude, so many teams gave up. We're gonna start with the biggest one, I think. I don't know why I wrote down Jim Harbaugh. John Harbaugh is out as Ravens coach after missing the playoffs. This is literally the end of the era. He's been what? He was under contract for 18
I'm pretty
seasons. He was supposed to play until 2028. He led the team once to a Super Bowl. They were like one of the best teams in the league. Now they missed playoffs and Harbaugh is bye-bye, which is insane to say. It is really just the end of an era. And we'll probably see a lot of things changing at Baltimore. But now that it's over, Is it rebuild time for the Ravens, do you think? Like what's next for the Ravens here?
Um, it's I'm not even sure. Like when you look at uh each position, bro, there's a name there. Like it's not like you can like, oh, why is this person there? Like, nah, you look at every single position from QB all the way to your kicker. Like there's literally a name there for every single one of them. So it's like you can't even really say, oh, it's on Lamar Jackson, even though he was really in and out like pretty much every single week, being injured, carrying the team. You can't say it's on Derrick Henry because it's like that when you don't have that connection there with your QB, it's not gonna be easy. And then your O line isn't performing well. Like it's all that plays into each other. So you can't even really say it's a coaching problem. So I feel like that's kind of where they messed up. On firing John, because I like he proved, like, when you look at his entire time there at Baltimore, he's been doing everything he needed to do. Yeah, they didn't make playoffs every single year and went all the way to the chip, but that's almost impossible to happen in today's era. Like that's not going to happen. So for that, it was surprising. I think they should start rebuilding, but I think they should kind of rebuild more around like um just the team morale, really. Like you could tell they go out there, they look defeated a good amount of time. They like they don't know what they're doing. That's what kind of put them in this position.
Yeah.
So I think it's more of that and not really as far as the players. I definitely think they need to give Lamar some more help, because for him to literally play all the way until week 3 or 4, I believe, and then be out for so long and still be a
Yeah.
top 3 quarterback, that shows that he's been doing everything he needs to do. Like it's not on him. Like he's been doing his job at the end of the day. So if they just give him, some more help and bring in another strong coach that was like John, I mean, if not coaching style, but like just the connection he had with his players, they bring somebody in like that, they'll be right back on track.
Would you write off Harbaugh as, not a good enough coach? And my reason for asking this is because the Ravens have only advanced past the divisional round once since the Super Bowl 13 seasons ago. So would you write him
Yeah.
off as like not good enough?
Not really, because if you write him off, you have to write Mike Tomlin off. There,
Yeah.
there's few other coaches that you have to write off. If that's the case, like, yeah, they may not have made divisional round every single time. They may not have made playoffs or whatever,
Hmm.
but just them as a coach, you cannot write them off. They're like, just their knowledge, their IQ, and like their overall, persona. Like as a coach, they do everything they need to do. Of course, this season it was different, with injuries happening, and then just the overall team. Like I can't even really blame it on Harbaugh. Just the players, they weren't performing well. They're going to look at they're still going to point the finger at you, like
Yeah.
that's going to happen no matter what, you know. So that's kind of where it went wrong for him. But as far as running him off as a coach, absolutely not. I think he could definitely go to another team and turn it around. As long as he has that good connection with the GM, that he gets some more players in there. Just as long as he has that good, chemistry with whoever he goes to. But you cannot write him off as a coach at all. Like he's proven
Yeah.
himself for so many years, just for this one season to determine that.
All right. Next up, the Commanders. The Commanders got rid of both of their coordinators, which I think is kind of crazy after they almost made the playoffs last year. I mean, this year I think you can kind of write off their problem to the fact that they didn't have Jaden Daniels like at all healthy most of the season. But what what would you diagnose the Commanders' problem to?
Um, I mean, it kind of makes sense though, because when you look at Jaden Daniels, he's been doing pretty much everything, as
Yeah,
as a QB, as a star. So it's like now when he's injured and offense isn't going well, you can kind of tell like, okay, the coordinator, he must not know what to do if Jaden Daniels isn't on the field. He must not know
yeah,
what plays to call, like stuff like that. So if you have a coordinator that can't operate without just one star player, and even though he is like literally the soul and heart of the team, like he's literally the head of the team, the leader, you still can't only rely on him, because we've seen that already with the Ravens. You rely too much on Lamar Jackson. Now it's like when he's gone, what else can you do? So for the OC, it made sense But as far as defense, it was definitely surprising because defense, they pretty much been doing, everything they could. Even if they couldn't stop every team from putting up, many touchdowns, they still went out there and played, their heart out, and tried their hardest. So I think it wasn't really on the coordinator. It was just like unfortunate for all the teams that they went against because they definitely had, some good teams that they went against this year. But I don't know. I think it's kind of a mistake for them to do both at the same time because now you're gambling on whoever you're going to try to really bring in instead of organization. But yeah, we'll just have to see. I think right now those both coordinators they'll probably be able to go to another team and improve themselves. Like they should have stayed at the Commanders, but we'll just have to see what the future holds for them because like it's too much going on, at that organization right now.
Yeah.
So they have to like slow it down, reassess the problem properly, and just go from there.
All right, next up we have Eberflus. I'm trying to find the ESPN article, but I mean, the the Cowboys defense just the whole season was a problem. Everything. It was just a problem. They couldn't get it together. They couldn't stop teams from putting up like a lot of points on them. They lost to teams like the Cardinals and stuff when they had, Dak Prescott playing like very well, you know. Um, what do you do now? Eberflus is out. I think that's what a lot of people were asking for. But what is next for the Cowboys now that they've gotten rid of Eberflus?
Mm, I don't know. I feel like with the Cowboys, it was never really like well, I can't say never really, but it wasn't too much of a coaching problem. I think it's
Yeah.
just finishing strong, throughout the season. That's what they've always dealt with in the past maybe five seasons. Like they always get right there. Then like those last few games is what shuts them out. So for Eberflus to be out, I don't know. I think it's more on defense right now, for sure. Because I mean, like that's what it's come down to. Like
Yeah.
every single situation, in the past few seasons, it's always that one game where defense will slip up and they won't make playoffs. So
Hmm.
it definitely comes down to that. But just from this season alone, I think they did pretty good. Offensive side, they've done everything that they possibly could. CeeDee Lamb may not have had the best season, but when you add somebody like Pickens in there, like that when he's reliable as well, he evens out the playing field. Now then when you have Williams at running back, it evens it out, offense. It's just defense didn't really do their assignment. So, for Eberflus to be out, I mean it would make sense, but it's just Cowboys, like, they gotta really look at every single problem instead of just only trying to do one,
Yeah.
one at a time, because that's gonna eventually take, decades to try to get every single, problem done at a time instead of trying to attack, all at once. But just gotta be strategic about it. So for that, um, yeah, it's definitely questionable, but we never know. Cowboys, they look pretty good, this season on offense, just defense. If they get that going, they could be a possible contender for next year.
Uh, next up, the Cardinals got rid of their head coach Jonathan Gannon. Now that Gannon is gone, I mean, he had just a 15-36 record across 3 seasons. Um, do you think they'll be moving on from Kyler Murray as well?
Um, I mean, when you look at when Murray first got in the league, I don't think it was really on him. I think he just got to a team to where they never really tried to adjust, to be honest. Like now you're actually putting some people there, and even with Marvin Harrison Jr. now you have McBride. Like you're adding pieces. It's still only so much he can do if coaching wasn't all that good. So I think it was definitely good for them, to get rid of Jonathan. But end of the day, if coaching was never the problem, then it's only going to be so many things, so many conclusions that's going to pop up. So it's just if Murray, if he does his assignment and they bring in another coach that's really able to like really lead the team, they'll be good to go. You know, it's just they have to make sure that they can't settle. Like they
Yeah.
can't settle only with Kyler Murray. They can't only settle, you know, with just one person a team. Like they have to look at every single position, look at everybody as a whole, be able to try to attack, you know, every assignment. So as long as they do that, probably within the next, you know, maybe 2 seasons, we'll see a complete different Cardinals team from what we saw this season.
And then Pete Carroll also out from Las Vegas. I think for me, uh, I think it's crazy that they fired him after only one season,
Yeah.
especially with the team that they had. Like Geno Smith was playing horribly. Would you agree that it's a bad decision to remove him after just 1 year? Or
I mean, 100%. Like we know what Pete Carroll can do.
yeah,
We saw when he was, you know, him as a coach, at the Hawks. So like it wasn't even like it was on him. It's just when you look at film, Smith wasn't doing everything he needs to do. Like he was playing horribly. But then again, I feel like they waited too soon. Like or they did it too soon.
yeah,
Because not only was it after one season, they should have waited to see how the rest of these games were going to play out to see where they landed in the draft. That's where they definitely needed to wait because now your number one pick, now you don't even have Pete Carroll there. Now you don't have a strong head coach to really be able to like, okay, now we can do this. Now we can get this quarterback. Now we can go try to get these few receivers over here. Somebody
yeah,
on defense. No, like not now you don't have that option. Now you gotta go all the way to look for a whole nother head coach. Now you got to see what you're going to do with your GM in the draft. You know, like it's too many things that's going to add on to each other now. But it wasn't on Pete Carroll. You know, like I think every Pete Carroll fan, every Seahawks fan, and even Raiders fan, they can definitely see how like that's not how Pete Carroll is. That wasn't even on him. Like you can't put that on him. But then again, you're the coach. You're going to get fingers pointed at you. You're always going to be the one, getting talked bad about at the end of the day. So it's unfortunate because he's a very good coach. I don't know why they got rid of him so soon. It was literally only one season.
yeah.
To be honest, I don't think they did horrible for a team that literally like just kind of started rebuilding. I don't think they did horrible, but we just have to see because now you still got Smith at quarterback, which I don't think he's going to be there for too long. But now you have the number one pick. You already have some great receivers there. And then of course, you have Ashton Genji, and then even arguably one of the best tight ends right now. So we'll just have to see how it plays out in the offseason. I mean, obviously it's playoffs right now, so as soon as it gets to offseason, we'll have to see because I'm already knowing it's going to be a bunch of trades and releases happening,
Yeah.
signings, and even with the draft. So we'll just have to see.
Uh, Second to last, we got Kevin Stefanski. He was one of the second coaches fired after the end of the regular season. I honestly think that there's nothing to save Cleveland, at least for like a year or two, because they're basically stuck between a rock and a hard place. They got Deshaun Watson's contract, and not only is he injured, but he's horrible and has a bunch of like bad PR surrounding him. And then just the team in general, like they have, Shador Sanders, who has been on and off the whole season, and you still have to deal with Watson's contract. Um, Miles Garrett might leave if he gets sick enough of being on a team that keeps losing, even when he's literally breaking records. Um, and like you have a decent team, the organization just can't do anything with it. So what? I mean, would you even want to be coach for this team at this rate?
Um, I mean, if I really had the option to, I feel like it would be good for somebody that like on an outside point of view that could be a coach for specifically just this franchise
Mm-hmm.
because they see was like outsider's point of view is always different from an insider's point of view. Insider, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, like this is the problem right here. But then somebody on the outside be like, no, it's not only just this problem. You have this problem and this problem. Like they're gonna be able to uh, pull that out of the rocks. So with that, um, I mean, it's definitely on coaching. Like we've seen, Kevin Stefanski, like just all season long, he has not been the best coach for the Cleveland, for the Browns at all. Like it was just like he doesn't deserve to be a coach for them. Like maybe for another franchise, whatever, but with them, he doesn't like we know how it's been for many seasons, bro. Probably for the
Yeah.
past like 7 to 8, ever since Mayfield was there. You know, when you had Mayfield, you had Landry, you had Odell. Like just from that, bro, he does not deserve to be there at all. You know, so if as long as they bring in somebody that knows what they're doing as far as their rookies, you know, sucks for Sean Judkins, you know, season-ending injury. But as long as they're able to, you know, be on par with Shador, you use David Njoku correctly, defense does their part. I mean, is they're going to have a good season, you know, as long as they do all that. Defense is surprisingly been a top 5 defense all season, even with their record, you know, not saying that, you know. So it's like the defense was never really a problem. It's just they couldn't put up many points, you know, on the board offensively. So as long as they attack both, you know, properly, they're not, you know, skipping over stuff, you
Yeah.
know, trying to put it out the way. They look at everything, then they'll be good. It's just we I think everybody can agree Kevin was not the best coach for the Browns.
And then lastly, Falcons. Falcons got rid of both the head coach Raheem Morris and their general manager Fontenot. Um, I think for everyone, the Falcons are that team. It's a disappointing end to a team that honestly, throughout the 3 years that Morris was there, had a lot of potential. They had Cousins, they had Phoenix this year. They had so many things going for them, and they couldn't do anything with it. They didn't even make a playoff appearance. So, I mean, do you have anything else to say about the Falcons, Samaj?
And it's not much else to say. Like when the, I know some people are going to be like, you know, coaching was horrible. Penix Jr. like he wasn't the best quarterback. You know, like it's going to be so many different opinions, but I think, you know, true football fans, true NFL fans, you know, that really watch everything, everybody can agree that he was just not helping the organization at all. You
Yeah.
know, like coaching was just not there for him. He could be, you know, maybe a coordinator for another team, but as far as him as a head coach, he just does not wasn't like he was not doing everything that he needed to do. Especially when you have people that want to go to Atlanta. It's like, you know, you have people coming in, but you're not putting no use to them. You just letting them sit there and do whatever. So if they get you know, everything sorted out as far as, you know, players, they get some more talent there, and they have a, you know, decent head coach that goes in. Um, maybe we'll see a different Atlanta team by,
Yeah.
you know, maybe 2028. But right now, I just think they're slowly rebuilding, but it's going to take them a while for them to really, you know, get in the groove.
All right. Well, that'll complete our Sideline Surge episode of the week. Hopefully, this will be out before the game tomorrow, but we will see because I do have work and they don't pay me. So, uh, anyways, that has been the Sideline Search. We are both very excited for playoffs. I am very excited for playoffs. I have the Seahawks at the first seed and somehow making it through to the semifinals. So we have a lot to watch. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the games this weekend. Stay safe. Hopefully, all the players play well and don't get injured. And yeah, bye bye.